Zentera then, how'd you come up with that name?
We wanted to honour our legacy. We've obviously been working with growers for the last 27 years and started with New Zealand growers, and we've been working with Australian growers for near on 15 years. We've been procuring wool out of South Africa for about a decade. So we really wanted to find a name that represented what we were doing today, but it also set us up for the future.
Farm Without Harm, getting the message out. What has made you say yes? What's attracted you to this?
Well, I feel George and I are doing this because it adds so much value to other farmers, and Farm Without Harm is a new approach to solving our harm, right? We're all having it every day on farm. Let's make it more attractive to people of finding different solutions, different ways of looking after each other.
All right, well, for the second time in a couple of weeks, we've got Angus Street on the line with us. He is, of course, the Chief Executive of NZ Merino, although I don't know if it's going to be NZ Merino much more. Angus, nice to have you back on the program. How's things?
Fantastic, Dom. Yeah, really excited today. We have a little secret that we've been working on, and really excited to announce that we have a new company name, Zentera Wool Company. And that goes live today. So yeah, couldn't be more excited, to be honest with you. And thanks for having me back.
No problem at all. Yeah, it's big news. Zentera then, how'd you come up with that name?
Yeah, we've been working on the project for about 18 months. And important to us was that we wanted to honour our legacy. We've obviously been working with growers for the last 27 years, and started with New Zealand growers, and we've been working with Australian growers for near on 15 years. We've been procuring wool out of South Africa for about a decade, and we've also been supplying or buying strong wool from New Zealand for about a decade as well. So we really wanted to find a name that represented what we were doing today, but it also set us up for the future. And what I love about it is its meaning. And to us, we've defined it as in harmony with the land, Zen and Terra. And to be honest with you, that's actually what our farmers do, right? If you think about it, and so it's regardless of what country they're in, they're working in harmony with the land to produce this magical fibre. And so they're in the title, they're a part of the story. So we've paid homage to our legacy, most importantly, but we've also set us and our growers up for the future. So yeah, really excited about the name. And to be honest with you, a name's just a name. So much more comes with a name, and I think that's the really exciting piece for us.
So why, Angus, at this stage, have you decided to change not only the name, but as you say, a few other sort of aspects of the operation as well?
Yeah, part of it is we've been going through a strategic reset, and I've talked to you about that a number of times. And it was a realisation that the current environment that we are operating in, we did a bunch of research, and brands, consumers, supply chain partners, growers were all telling us similar things. And they were that the market's really fragmented. The market is wanting to unify behind a wool story, a global wool story. There is a movement towards natural fibres, but that movement towards natural fibres can't just be a story. It actually has to have evidence and justification and data that sits behind it. And so we reflected on, I guess, all of what NZM has created over the last couple of years. And we've got some of the best farmers in the world working in harmony with the land. We've got the world's most recognised animal welfare standard, ZQ, and we've got the world's first wool regenerative framework, ZQ-RX. And so we kind of had the building blocks of what the market was wanting, but what we needed to do was evolve it into a company that positioned those two standards as ingredient brands that that brands could start to tell the story of wool globally to their customers. And so when we talk ingredient brands, that's things like, a good example is probably the one everyone thinks about is a Gore-Tex, for example, and that Gore-Tex actually delivers commercial returns to the brands well beyond just the product, but they're actually seeing it as an ingredient. And if we can do that for ZQ, then by delivering more value for our brand partners, that creates more value we can then share with our growers. Growers can keep doing what they love, keep growing wool, everybody wins. So the market was really ready, and the data and the research that we've really looked at over the last 18 months really pointed us down this path.
Right. So it's like anything. There's just an evolutionary aspect to the whole thing. I mean, you can't stand still, effectively.
Yeah, that's a really good point, and I think it's just the next chapter. We could not be doing what we are doing today without all of the work and the effort and the projects and the initiatives that our growers, our teammates, the industry bodies have all done over the last 27 years. So it's absolutely just the next chapter, and we're really excited about it. I think it positions wool at the pinnacle of the natural fibre market, and it also positions ZQ wool at the pinnacle of the wool market. And so if we can continue to do that, we know we're going to deliver returns for growers and shareholders alike. So
it's interesting. So the NZ part's been taken out. I guess that reflects the global nature of the thing now. It's funny when you think about it back to its origin. It broke off. A bunch of New Zealand growers, merino growers, basically broke away from the wool board back in the day. I'm not sure how many years ago it was now, but So the it's transitioning from a purely New Zealand thing, I feel, into more of a global thing. Is that right? Am I hitting the nail on the head there?
Yeah, I was about to use that analogy. You've hit the nail on the head, and I think, firstly, just to that point, we might be losing the New Zealand in the company name, but the essence of the company, the DNA of the company still is very much New Zealand, and that those relationships and how we operate, how we show up, how we engage, how we promote the two products, the ingredient brands, still has a very New Zealand feel about it, and that's really important because I think brands are not wanting to lose that. The other piece is we've got to a point where our demand has outstripped, for certain micron ranges, our demand has outstripped our ability to supply purely New Zealand, I guess, provenanced wool. And that's why we expanded to Australia and South Africa. And so we were in a position, over the last decade where the company made a choice that for us to be able to deliver ZQ wool to our brand partners, their demand was growing. We needed to grow globally. We would have lost those customers if we weren't able to supply them ZQ wool. And I think the third piece is what has evolved is in the really early stages, the first decade, the company obviously traded off the New Zealand provenance, and that was really important. But it evolved to ZQ, and now ZQ is a global certification for animal welfare, and ZQ Plus, which is our other ingredient product, is a regenerative certification. That is what is in demand, and then it drops down to the quality of wool and the specifications required. So we don't lose it. but it's certainly just an evolution.
Yeah, but the New Zealand provenance aspect, because that's the bit to the, just if I'm just looking at this purely from, sort of, a perception point of view, what you're telling me that it isn't losing its sort of New Zealand flavour, if you like. The fact that, I don't know, because, it seems to me titles are quite important. So you take, NZ out of the title, how are people to sort of know that it's a sort of New Zealand provenance by and large?
Well, so let me be clear. I think it's the New Zealand provenance was lost a long time ago because we've been supplying Australian and South African wool for well over a decade. But it's, I guess, when you talk in marketing and branding talk, a brand is more than a logo. A brand is more than a name. And so,
well, I'm not in marketing, Angus.
Me neither. But it's like, you clearly wear Nike or Vans or, and people sit there and it's like, why do you buy them? And it's like, well, because I like the vibe, right? And so that Kiwi vibe isn't going to be lost.
Was there any pressure from any of the other growers from South Africa, Australia to be like, hey, listen, or not pressure, but discussions, I suppose you might say. It's like, we're kind of getting lumped in, we do our own thing. We're pretty proud of it. We grow wool up to this certain standard. Can we all be under one sort of a bit more generic umbrella rather than, just have, be lumped in with New Zealand?
Yeah, no, there actually wasn't, to be honest with you. Where the questions arose was actually on the customer side, on our brand side. So we'd be sitting down with the new brand partner and they're saying, oh, cool, so I'm buying some Merino from New Zealand because you're New Zealand Merino, but why is there Australian Merino in there? Are you taking Australian Merino and selling it as New Zealand Merino? It's like, no, there's and so it's a very confusing way of operating. And so it was the customers who wanted clarity around where the wool was coming from, and they wanted clarity around what ZQ stood for. And that's the evolutionary point, really.
Does that mean then, and I'm sure you've looked at this, in terms of opening it up to suppliers from other countries as well? It must open a door there.
Yeah, it does, but where it's not about scaling infinitely, and it's really otherwise our vision would be the world's largest, wool supplier. We intentionally selected leading because we will only grow as fast as our demand for ZQ grows.
Sure.
And because otherwise we end up commoditizing the value of the program. And that actually, if we commoditize ZQ, then the value of it drops and growers aren't getting the returns that they've invested for. So it is still really tightly held, but what it's doing is it's positioning the company for growth and for us to grow globally, essentially.
Okay, so I think you've said as well that the industry is going to see more change in the next 12 months. What do you mean by that?
Oh, I think that's just some of the other initiatives that we've got going on. One of the pieces that I talked to was ZQ Plus. ZQRX evolves to ZQ Plus, which is but the important piece there is that ZQ RX was a regenerative framework, but for us to be able to actually allow brands to put that as a mark or a logo on garments, it didn't meet EU regulation. So one of the evolutionary points is that ZQ Plus now becomes a regenerative certification. That then means that brands can market that to their consumers with confidence and make claims about it. So it's just really tidying up a lot of the confusion around what brands can say to their consumers. That gives them confidence, and it's actually world leading in that aspect again. So again, setting growers that are growing regeneratively up to be able to deliver into these high value markets is essentially what we're trying to achieve. So incrementally, that's one of the initiatives. We've got ZQ version 6 coming out later in the year. So that's an upgrade to the ZQ standard. And we've got projects that are looking at audit fatigue and data collection, which is a hot topic through a lot of kind of industry groups. We've got a pipeline of initiatives that all link back to our really clear vision of being the world's leading wool company. And I guess just the rebrand was one of those pillars that was the first one off the rank, really.
Okay, right, I've got you. So it's a launching pad for a few other things.
Correct. It'll come.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. So tell me, how have New Zealand farmers, growers, the industry, as it were, because I know that I think you're at the Wanaka show, I think, sort of unveiling things.
Yep.
What's the feedback been like from the wider sector?
The wider sector, talking with our customers, so the brand partners and the supply chain partners, we've actually been soft launching it with them for the last 6 to 8 weeks. Obviously, they're the ones that are most heavily impacted and drove a lot of the change because they were the ones who are asking for it. And we are a demand-driven organisation. That's what the essence of the company was. So their feedback has been really positive. Feedback, comments like what we've been asking for, this is excellent, this is absolute leadership. I can now take this to our consumers. I've got greater confidence. So really overarchingly positive from a demand side of it. From a supply point perspective, I think the Aussie growers and our South African growers are excited. They feel a part of the tent. I don't think, as I said earlier, there wasn't any friction there, but I think this does tie them a lot closer to the vision, and they certainly feel a lot more part of it. For strong wool growers and our mid-micron growers, again, they've been supplying New Zealand Merino for a very long time, but, and there's still the perception out there that, well, New Zealand Merino only looks after Merino wool, when in actual fact we do a lot of others. So again, they're really welcoming and hugely supportive of it. And actually, and finally, I guess our legacy Merino growers, which found the founding fathers of the company, their support as well has been there, and they're right behind it. I think there's certainly some unease about a name change, when you've been supplying a company for that long. But what is really clear is they understand the why and they understand the opportunity that the name creates. And so because they understand that, they're actually right behind it and quite excited. But obviously with every change, there is, change is hard, and in a couple of years' time, ideally, people will still call us New Zealand Merino. We still get called, I think the original company name was Merino New Zealand. And then right. 15 years ago it was New Zealand Merino. And so, or I don't know the time frames, but we still have people calling us MNZ instead of NZM. And so, it's and that's okay, right? And that's, that's because the connection is more than a name. It's the same crew of people. We're doing the same job. We're believing in the same thing. So, really, really excited by it.
A couple of things before I let you go. So tell me, what do the wool brokers in Australia and South Africa make of the play? I mean, it's not like it's a new thing in terms of getting some supply out of those countries. South Africa more recently so. I guess is there enough supply over there that you're not upsetting the apple cart too much?
No, again, it's just that they understand the opportunity that it creates. It's around creating demand over the long term, and it's just the next chapter for it. So again, supportive, and really what it's about is we're incrementally growing supply in those two countries. We're not going to rapidly go out and get thousands of growers signed up. What we've got to do now is go out and build more demand for ZQ. And this pillar, this change allows us to go and actually generate more demand, and more demand at higher value.
Problems around the world with supply, with supply chains at the moment. Well, how's that affecting business?
Oh, it's a good Dom, that's $1 million question. I don't know whether I'm equipped to ask it. I don't know whether anyone is. I think what I do know is talking to our supply chain partners, growers, in different countries, logistics partners, manufacturers. What it does, it just creates more uncertainty into the system, and everyone's probably a little bit frustrated and disheartened by that, because obviously 12 months ago, or 12 to 18 months ago now, tariffs was that first kind of wave. And then a lot of companies have absorbed or worked out how to deal with those tariffs. And then all of a sudden, we now have the Middle East war, which is causing another round of supply chain problems and inflationary pressures. And so, I think it's a bit too early to tell exactly what the impact is. And I think it's probably more frustration than anything in the system because of the uncertainty. But those brands and businesses that survived the post-COVID kind of decline and market volatility and low consumer spending, survived the tariffs, really focusing on just controlling what they can control, play what's in front of them. They've now everyone's got really solid businesses and foundations that they can lift off. This is just something else that is coming at them, I'd say.
Yeah, it's a pretty good summation, really. I mean, what more can you say?
I don't have an answer. If you can find someone who does, I'd love to hear it.
Yeah, exactly. I think a lot of people would echo that sentiment. So, listeners, Zentera, Zentera, I've checked, the website is up and running, so go and check it out. Angus, I always enjoy catching up with you, so thank you for making yourself available again, mate. Really appreciate it, and all the best. We'll be chatting again soon, I'm sure.
Thanks, Dom. Looking forward to it, and thanks so much for the chat.
All right, well, Safer Farms has named its first regional champions, and these people are going to be tasked with spreading the farm without harm message in rural communities. So we've got two of the three with us on the program today, 2022 Ahu Whenua Young Māori Award winner Chloe Butcher-Herries, and also the 2024 Young Farmer of the Year, George Dodson. It's lovely to have you both on. How are you guys?
Great to be on, Dom. Thanks for having us along.
Nah, bloody good there, Dom, and good to be here with you both.
Let's set the scene. George, where do you farm? What do you do?
Yeah, I'm a dairy farmer down in the South Island in Canterbury, just outside of Darfield, milking 700 cows, managing the farm there.
Chloe?
I'm a sheep and beef farm manager here in Central Hawke's Bay, running 550 hectares finishing land and then 2,000 hectares of your breeding hill country at the back of Dannyvert.
Beautiful. Right. So you guys have been brought on board here, as I said, Farm Without Harm, getting the message out. I know this is fairly new. So what has made you say yes? What's attracted you to this, guys? What's the impetus behind it?
Yeah. Well, I feel George and I are doing this because it adds so much value to other farmers, and Farm Without Harm is a new approach to solving our harm, right? We're all having it every day on farm, but let's make it more attractive to people of finding different solutions and different ways of looking after each other. What do you reckon there, George? Being vulnerable to start new conversations and generally caring. We want to learn from others as well.
Yeah, for me, it's all about the farmer to farmer stuff, I suppose. Like, none of us farmers want to be chased by bureaucrats in Wellington making rules, and we want it to be a learning. Not we don't want to go out and lecture anyone, but we want to be able to learn and share our lessons together as well. And I think hopefully I speak for Chloe as well on that thing, is just sharing lessons and things that we learn and maybe some tips along the way, and just trying to help everyone learn and grow together so that we can just be a bit healthier and safer on farms. And I suppose the health part's pretty important for me as well, in terms of just lessening the load, I suppose the mental load that we know that farming puts on all of us as well.
Yeah, actually, because George, I saw, I don't know if it was recently or not, but there was a wee video that you posted about just going up or down the hill on the four wheeler or something. Yeah, just sort of little examples like that. Explain that one.
Yeah, well, I suppose it's a good opportunity for me to evaluate when I make mistakes as well. And in that instance, it was quite a heavy dew that morning, and I went down a hill and started sliding out sideways. And luckily, it was slippery enough at the bottom that I could sort it out the bottom. But if there'd been a lip or something at the bottom, I could quite have easily rolled off that. So it was a good opportunity to reevaluate the situation for myself, and also share that quick learning from that risk, I suppose, and share it around.
Yeah, Chloe, that's the important thing, isn't it? It's like you go through, you don't even really think about what you're doing. You just do stuff because it's got to be done, right? And you've done it this way 1,000 times, why not just, you don't really think about it, do you?
It's so true, Dom. That's what it is, eh? And I think we all just need to stop and have a little bit of a think about it. Because at the end of the day, we all want to get home. And recently, my wife and I just had a little baby, and that just gives you so much more purpose to get home, and yeah, hey, farming's never going to stop. It keeps the economy going, I reckon, here in New Zealand. So let's all keep doing it, and let's be safe at doing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've heard that sentiment echoed probably more in the last maybe 18 months to 2 years. That thing where you talk with people who have had, minor or horrific accidents. And yeah, I mean, it always goes back to, to family, doesn't it? At the end of the day, what better incentive does one need, really?
That's 100%. I think also, like George and I are doing a few little videos here and there and chucking them up on our socials. And I think you don't know what you don't know. And if we can share just those little videos like what George was talking about, it changes people's way of thinking, just a little bit like, crikey, I don't want that to happen to my staff member. I better look into that, actually. Just a little bit thinking like that.
Yeah, it's a good point. And I also think the other thing that George raised there was in terms of, you don't want to lecture people. No one really likes to be told what to do at the end of the day, do they? So it's more about, okay, look, this is what happened to me, or this could happen or whatever it might be. And it's just, sharing it rather than, lecturing. And this is the problem you get as well with things like that. Sometimes when it comes to things like safety, it's an eye roll, isn't it? People just go, oh, for God's sake, can we just get on with it, right? That's an attitude. You got to acknowledge that.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's maybe an older generation, but I think the younger people coming through are more aware of it now as well. And it's again not trying to lecture people on things. Like I would find it hard to lecture people on anything that I'm not perfect at, and no one's really perfect at anything. So I always just try and take the lessons from each opportunity, and there's always a couple of people that will tell me something is wrong if I say it's wrong or whatever. So it's a great learning opportunity to go both ways as well.
Yeah, it's a good point. What about fatigue, guys? And I know, like, just hearing, what you guys have got on and stuff, and Chloe just mentioned new kid, God, been there. Fatigue, I mean, that's just your sleep's not there. It's just the way it goes, you're working round the clock, all that sort of thing. I mean, how do you guys have any tips on how to manage fatigue?
Yeah, for me, it's been organised, to be honest, Dom, having that whiteboard up, having your staff ahead of the game, having yourself ahead of the game. And that will help with that fatigue because you're not double thinking about something. You've got it right in front of your face of what you've got to do. You can shut off at night time because you've already got that plan for tomorrow and the next day. Everything changes in farming, but that big whole overall plan shouldn't change. And that should help with the fatigueness a bit. Just my thoughts there. About that.
George?
For me, it's probably around trying to get enough sleep. Obviously, being dairy farmers, we get up pretty early, so it's quite hard to get yourself to bed nice and early, especially if you have some of those days on farm where you finish at 6 o'clock, something goes wrong, and then you're like, oh, I don't have much time to myself to go and see my mates or go play sports or whatever. And I'm reasonably social. I like to play heaps of sports where me and my partner, we're not around home too many nights of the week, to be fair. So it's always that battle of trying to get home at a reasonable time and get some good sleep. And like Chloe says, just being planned and organised for the next day is quite important as well, so that we're not on the back foot from the get-go and stressed out about what's going on and what could go wrong.
So in terms of what you guys actually have to do here as these sort of regional ambassadors, I'm obviously just, sort of fronting a few bits and pieces, posting your videos, etc. Is there anything else that it involves, or is it just kind of being a figurehead or something for getting the message out there?
I think it's a little bit just like you say, posting the videos and trying to share some experiences and that sort of thing is probably the main stuff, but also trying to develop our leadership and communication is going to be quite cool. I think Safer Farms are going to put us through some training in that aspect, that we can develop that as well and hopefully be able to portray our messages or get them across in an even better way. So for me, that's probably a bit of personal development there too. But yeah, I think it mainly comes back to sharing experiences and hopefully being able to share those learnings.
Well, I got approached by the powerhouse legend Lindy Nelson, and I felt pretty honoured to be asked to be on this campaign. And it's all about being vulnerable and honest, and people like you being real. And I think that's what me and George have, is we're doing these videos. It's real honest. It's in the making of what we're doing farm, just like every other farmer. And all we're doing is pulling our phone out, showing what we're doing is what you're doing. Let's just chuck in that little bit of extra safety on the side of it, a couple of tips, That's my thoughts with that one there. Yeah.
There's still, it's hard. It's a tough job. You've got to be tough to do it in the first place. It's, you know what I mean? Like there's a balance there, I suppose, because you don't want to also, wrap everyone up in cotton wool on the other side of it, do you?
Yeah,
I think there's a lot of common sense. Like a lot of people will say there's a lot of common sense in farming, but for me that's probably around lived experiences a lot of the time, is where I call it farming sense rather than common sense, and that's having a bit of experience. So if we can, I suppose, provide a little bit of experience and what we've been through, I suppose, and opportunities and learnings and things that have happened on farm to give that experience to those people before they have to learn it themselves in potentially a more risky manner or with poorer outcomes, that's a great opportunity.
I also reckon, it's pretty hard to retain staff these days, or even find people that want to get into our sector. So if they can see that the person that they might be interested in working for is looking after their team and thinking about them on and off farm and wanting them to actually get home safe, I'm pretty sure I'd want to go work for that person over the other person that thinks, don't worry about wearing a helmet, don't worry about putting your seatbelt on, jump in that tractor and get down that hill, don't care if you've been in one before or not. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, that exactly. What? Yeah. Careful working for that person. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, exactly. Well, and so that's right. It also comes down to you've got your personal sort of aspect to it, but also the employer aspect as well. So it's all got to be aligned, I suppose, at the end of the day. But so basically, people keep a lookout for your socials plus the website as well, Farm Without Harm. So they're the main sort of resources, I guess, if people are looking to find a few tips, etc.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep.
Yes, that was quite a closed-ended question, wasn't it? So yeah.
No, it is. I think follow those Safer Farms, Farm Without Harm on social media, and George as well, and you'll get some awesome tips that you can share with your whole team, your family, everyone.
Before I let you guys go, though, let's find out a little bit more about you guys. So, George, 2024, you won the Young Farmer of the Year. You've obviously gone on. You're doing the dairying thing at the moment. Obviously, still active around the community, doing bits and pieces. What else is happening, mate?
Quite involved in young farmers still at the local club level as well, and doing a bit of stuff at the regional level. So I suppose that's a bit of passion at the moment. And then Dairy Industry Awards, I entered that last year and managed to win the Canterbury Manager of the Year. So this year I'm on the organising team. That's sort of part of the processes you help organise for the next year. So we've got our awards night coming up in the next couple of weeks, which will be cool to get that ticked off. And then going forward, I suppose it's yeah, just looking at the further opportunities, social media and doing that has created a fair bit of extra work on the side. So that's probably where a lot of the passion and energy is going towards at the moment. And yeah, I suppose it's the direction I'm focused on probably at the moment.
Chloe, as we mentioned, Ahu Whenua 2022, Xander McDonald finalist as well this year, and I know you went up to the big soiree that they have that takes about a week. How's everything going in your world?
No, very good. Thanks, Dom. That was a great awards to be a part of, that Xander Award. And, of course, the definitely almighty Ahu Whenua Awards as well. We're still a big part of both of those. And my wife and I will open up our gates to anyone and everyone that wants to give farming a go, and growing future farmers, have a young student on farm. And, of course, reaching out to our own goals that we have personally, and, just living life there, Dom, and being happy about doing it.
I actually read the Women's Day article on you, Chloe, as well. I think it was like late last year, around the country calendar time as well, because you featured on that, yeah?
That's it, yeah. Good on you, Dom. Thanks for your support, man.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, no, it's awesome. It's actually pretty good. It was pretty open and honest kind of a chat, actually, the Women's Day. So, yeah, it was actually pretty good. I was pretty surprised, but it was a good read, actually. So, yeah, guys, thank you very much. I appreciate you taking some time out of what's clearly very busy schedules that you've got going on to have a chat with us on the program. So go well, both of you, and we'll talk again, I'm sure, in the future. So cheers.
Thanks, Dom.
Very good. Cheers, Dom. Thank you.
Thanks for watching. As always, everybody, don't forget new episodes every Wednesday, Friday and Sunday. And, of course, like, comment and subscribe.